Jeremy Jacquet, here we go to Liverpool. GP Mateta apparently on the move at AC Milan. Sandro Tonali to Arsenal. Ricardo Pepe to Fulham. Let's rank all these crazy deadline day moves based on how they would fit in the Premier League. Let's get straight into it. So we start strong with Jeremy Jacquet to Liverpool. And honestly, what a top move. What a top move. 60 million, 55 million plus 5 million of add-ons. Liverpool pulled the trigger because they really needed a defender. But he's only joining them in the summer in 2026. But, oh my days. As a Liverpool fan, I made a video talking about how Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes are just attentive in this transfer window, and they just really closed my mouth with this signing because Jeremy Jacquet, again, we're talking about one of the best Europe promising centre-backs. I've watched him last season under that Rennes team in a back three. He was really solid. He really stood up directly to me. Like, there is, the eye test doesn't lie. We're talking about a defender this season that is in the 95th percentile for interceptions. So this guy reads the game better than 95% of Premier League defenders, League A defenders, Serie A defenders. So we're talking about one of the brightest European centre backs who was on the market. It was a battle between Chelsea and Liverpool, and finally Liverpool have won a battle against Chelsea, which is nice to see. So Liverpool could align Giovanni Leoni and Jeremy Jacquet in the future, in the long term, in the future and in the long term. So that's incredible. I think that's really a perfect fit. Everything about Jeremy Jacquet is top. Everything I've watched him, every time I've watched him last season. Well, I haven't watched him a lot this season, but every time I've watched Rennes last season, he was brilliant. Again, in terms of interception, how he reads the game, that's really stood up for me. And his aggressiveness on the ball also, and he can also play out the back, and play in a back three, can play in a back four, can play. Also, I've seen him play as a right back for that France youth team. So incredible signing. The only thing is it's the fee, 60 million. I think it's great, a great fee that Rennes are recouping. Also Rennes, which have sold for 100 million in this January transfer window, 60 to 70 million for Jeremy Jacquet, and 40 million from Kader Meite to Al Hilal. Kader Meite, another young player who was linked to a move at Manchester United, a move in the Premier League, a young striker, could have fit in a physical league like the Premier League. But yeah, well done by Rennes, and for sure Liverpool have got a bright talent on their hands. Can't wait to see how he fits into the team, and the fact that he's chosen the Liverpool project over the Chelsea shambles of project tells me more about Jeremy Jacquet also. Let's pass to the next one. Richard Gertrude, I don't know if I say well his name. He was linked to a move to Liverpool, but apparently his move is collapsed because Sunderland haven't found a replacement. So now it's the second time that this happens. I don't get what is this new thing. Teams want to sell players, but they don't let them go without replacements. It's the second time it happened with Marguerite, and now with the Gertrude. And I watched Sunderland's latest games, and he hasn't played any single minute in the latest games with Sunderland. So why do they need the replacement if they don't use him? And he's also on loan from RB Leipzig. It's a player I think who could have fixed the short term for Liverpool, because they don't have any fit right back at the moment. They have Calvin Ramsey, but Slot is not gonna use him. I've understood it. So Gertrude would have fixed that problematic, because he can play as a right back, can play as a centre back. I think it would have been a great fit. Honestly, it would have been a great fit, and he knows Arne Slot well because he captained his Feyenoord team. So it would have been a great move on the short term, but on the long term, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the quality of the player. So yeah, GP Mateta. What is happening with GP Mateta? He was on the move to Nottingham Forest, then the move collapsed. AC Milan came in, hijacked the move. He was on the move at AC Milan. Then Juventus came in the deal, also almost hijacked the deal, but he might end up at Crystal Palace, because AC Milan, after doing tests, he's not gonna go there. Apparently, he has a knee injury, which would keep him out for 2 to 3 months. and AC Milan don't want to take the risk. Also, GP Mateta is 28 years old. It's terrible. It's terrible because GP Mateta was having last season again one of the best Prem strikers. Got a France call up. Maybe a potential candidate to go at the World Cup, but with this situation, I don't see how it's gonna work. So I think GP Mateta honestly stays at Palace, especially with that knee injury. But what does that mean for Jurgen Strand Larsen, whose move at Crystal Palace was imminent? Are they gonna pursue the deal? It's crazy. What's happening with the striker market in the Premier League? So Jurgen Strand Larsen, who last summer was on the verge of joining Newcastle, but Wolves ended up extending his contract. So he extended his contract 6 months ago, and right now he was on the move to join Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, who are spending big money right now in the January transfer window. They are linked also to defenders to replace Morgehi. Let's see what happens. If the Larsen move gets through and they keep Mateta, I think this is a smart move. I think Jurgen Larsen fits what Crystal Palace are doing, fits what Glasner is doing in that attack with players like Yeremi Pino, Ismail Assar. I think it could be a great move. I don't forget that Jurgen Larsen last season scored 15 Premier League goals. We're talking about a good striker, generally good striker. It hasn't worked well with Wolves this season, but Wolves haven't had a great season. But I don't forget that Jurgen Larsen is a great player, could fit in that Crystal Palace team. What about Sandro Tonali? Oh my God, what about Sandro Tonali? There is a bomb this morning that Arsenal are looking for a midfielder because Mikel Merino is injured for a while, and they're looking at Sandro Tonali. Sandro Tonali, we're talking about, for me, the best, maybe the second best number 6 in the Premier League this season. He's so good. He's so good with that Newcastle team. He's double pivot with Bruno Guimaraes. Oh my God. Sandro Tonali, since coming back from that suspension, has been one of the best midfielders in the league. So him joining Arsenal would be terrible for the league. I think now the title would be confirmed, but I don't think it's happening. If Newcastle sold one of their best players in January transfer window at deadline day, it would be catastrophic. And I think Newcastle also would demand like at least 100 million for Sandro Tonali. We're talking about one of the best midfielders in Europe, so that's not happening. Not today. What about Raheem Sterling? Raheem Sterling has ended his contract with Chelsea, so he's on the move. There is rumors linking him to Fulham. There is rumors linking him to West Ham. There is also a rumor, that's why I wanna stay on a rumor linking him to Tottenham. So Tottenham are looking for an extra player in that attack, and they're thinking about Raheem Sterling. Look, Sterling has done all the Premier League teams, but I think Tottenham would be a terrible move. I don't think it's happening. I don't think it's happening just because we're talking about a player who hasn't played for a half season. So which Premier League team will really trust him? I see him moving to Saudi. What about Denzel Dumfries? As we said, Liverpool are looking for a short-term solution at that right back since they don't have any right back, and they have called for Denzel Dumfries, but it's not happening. The Inter president said that he's simply not leaving, especially in the January transfer window. It could have been a great solution on the short term again, but long term, I don't think so. And I'm not convinced that that's the way of working at Liverpool. Also, I don't think that they would send a short-term fix like that. They would rather play Zoboslai, play Curtis Jones there, wait for Frimpong to come back than sign a short-term solution like Denzel Dumfries. Denzel Dumfries is 28 years old. So what's the point? And when you're gonna have Bradley and Frimpong, who's obviously gonna come back. Another player that come back to his parent club is Mamadou Sarr. Wow, I think great move for Chelsea. But again, this proves that Chelsea don't care about Strasbourg. I understand why Strasbourg fans are not happy with this situation of Chelsea. Yes, Strasbourg have become a better club under Blue Coat. They are competing for Europe places. They are playing a European competition, but still, I think they'd prefer struggling to stay in Ligue 1 and not selling their soul, because taking your captain, because Mamadou Sarr has captained Strasbourg this season, one of your best players this season, in mid-season, while you're fighting for Europe, and while you're pushing also for that Conference League. I think it's mental. But yeah, Chelsea are taking back a top young centre back. I don't understand why they were interested in Jacquet when you've got Mamadou Sarr. Mamadou Sarr also, for me, times I've watched him, he's as good as Jeremy Jacquet. He's so calm on the ball, very mature in his performances. If you haven't watched his, for example, his semi-final at AFCON, go watch it. His final performance at the AFCON, really solid centre back. He's a leader also in that Strasbourg team. Chelsea are just getting back at top player. Let's see how he fits in that Chelsea team. So for me, that's a perfect fit, since he was already their player. Another player that's leaving Chelsea is Tyreek George. Tyreek George is on the move to Everton. Everton are looking for a winger, since Jack Grealish, I think injury is more long term. It's a fracture, I think 2 to 3 months out. Maybe you could not even see him this season again. I really hope we see Jack Grealish again, because his beginning of the season, we had so like prime Grealish. He was really back on his best. I hope he comes back. What does this mean for Tyreek George? So Tyreek George is gonna get a lot of game time. We have seen Tyreek George with game time while he gives. I'm convinced this is a great young player. I'm convinced that him under a great coach like David Moyes, with game time in that attack of Iliman Ndiaye, you've got Tyler Dibble, you've got Thierry Nobody, who's bagging goals right now. I think this is a smart move. I think really this is a smart move. I think it could be a great move. Another move we've discussed, and I've made a video about it. If you haven't watched, go watch it. It's about Curtis Jones. I really think this is not happening. This should not happening. We're talking about a homegrown player, a Scouser, the most Liverpool player in that Liverpool team, one of their best midfielders. I don't think he should be moving, especially not on a loan with an option to buy it. Catastrophe. I don't think this should happen. A move that was on the verge of happening. I don't know if it's still happening. Fabrizio Romano latest tweet says that the move is currently off because, again, PSV haven't found a replacement. Is Ricardo Pepi. What a season he was having, Ricardo Pepi. He's having a great season, bagging goals. And the American striker was linked to a move to Fulham. By the way, Fulham, the transfer window they've had. So they've had, now they've bought Oscar Bob. They have Kevin in attack. They have players like Samuel Chukwueze, Alex Iwobi, and the only position where they were lacking for a future and long-term player was in that attack, and Ricardo Pepi would have been the ideal player. I think Ricardo Pepi would have fit in so well. Again, Fulham, what they're doing is incredible. 37 million bid, apparently, which was accepted. I don't think that's a lot for a player like Ricardo Pepi. We have seen a glimpse of him in Europe, also in with the pace. We have seen him in Germany. Again, we're talking about a great talent. Again, a great talent. I'm curious to see who takes over Fulham job in the summer, because Marco Silva is, I think it's his last season. His contract is running up this summer. But I really think if this happens, I think it happens either now or in the summer. And if this happens, for me, it's almost a perfect fit. I think he fits in so well. He fits in so in that Fulham team, and I'll be curious to watch Fulham next season. Honestly, with the bowlers they have on their hands, this will be a great team to watch. What about Tyler Harwood-Bellis, who's linked to West Ham? I don't get why no Premier League team really was convinced to buy him in the summer. He's been relegated with that Southampton team. Again, in the summer, I've said that he is one of the best players in that Southampton team. England international. Again, his academy days with Manchester City, he was rated as one of the most promising centre backs in that academy. Again, he's a great player, home ground. I don't get why Premier League clubs are waking up just in January. He should have joined Premier League. He should have stayed in the Premier League for me this summer. So now at West Ham, I think it's a small move. They need a defensive solution. We've seen again their latest game against Chelsea, where they were winning, and to Debo, honestly, it's no longer possible. They need a player there, and I think a player like Tara Holdberry would be an incredible opportunity. What about Davide Fratesi? Davide Fratesi is linked to a move to Nottingham Forest. I don't know if it's still on the verge of happening. I don't know if it collapses, but David, I think it's a good solution. I think it's a great replacement to Douglas Luiz. A different profile, more than an 8, more of a box crusher. Also, we've got Elliot Anderson, who's honestly covers the whole midfield. He's so good. Again, his latest performance, oh my days, the club that signs Elliot Anderson, they're signing the next Declan Rice for me. They're signing the next. Whoever pays 100, 110, 120 million for Elliot Anderson, it will be worth it. It will be worth it. He's a top player. But Davide Fratesi next to him, they've got Ibrahima Sangare also in that number 6. I think this would have been a smart move. Let's see if it happens, because as Inter don't want to let him leave if they also don't have a replacement. The replacement was Curtis Jones, but it's not gonna happen. So let's see how it goes. But for me, this would have been a small move. I think it would have been a better solution. So that's it, guys. That's the final ranking. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know also which rumor has surprised you the most, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.